a dream client comes across you and says, I need this right now. I want to pay you 2 times your price. I want to pay you 2 times your rate. This is either that fork in the road where you tell someone the next day, oh, I'm so unlucky. Somebody showed up and wanted to pay me 2 times this and I didn't have time to say yes. Or you won't believe the luck I had. This guy showed up and he said he's going to pay me twice as much. You're literally creating good luck or you're creating bad luck based on this relationship between time and money.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
And we're back.
With another episode of He Said, She Said.
Kick it off the glōci tip, babe.
All right. So many people do not realize just how much your gut affects your skin, from everything to dryness, to fine lines, to your skin tone, to acne. And, there are so many people who, when they see somebody who's really healthy, they're always like, oh my gosh, you look so young. Your skin is amazing.
You have a glow.
It's not only because they're healthy, but the food that you are eating and how much of your nutrients that you're absorbing and what food you're having is really impacting your gut. So one of the biggest things that people are starting to look at is when we have skin issues, when we have acne issues, breakouts, dryness, flaking, psoriasis, a lot of times they're now talking about, let's really work hard to heal your gut and what that looks like. And so the beginning of healing your gut is also getting a really good probiotic, and not all probiotics are created equal at all. And even if you're spending a bunch of money on the probiotics from like a Whole Foods or somewhere like that, the thing is that even if you buy them and they're refrigerated there, we don't know what actually happened on the way to get there. So actually on the way to get to the store. So, if they were in different temperatures, we have no idea, no way of telling if this probiotic is alive. And so with the probiotic that we use, which is DE111, it is proven to not only survive the trip through your gut and your stomach acid, but to your actual home on your doorstep, because it can withstand really like high and low temperatures. So if you want better skin, if you want to start working on the dryness, the fine lines, the wrinkles, having a great probiotic is really necessary. And also our hyaluronic acid in there is huge. So many people are using a topical hyaluronic acid. And I'm telling you, while that's good and it does truly help, topical hyaluronic acids are proven to really help with fine lines. The thing is, when you wash it off, it's going to be done working. And so when you ingest hyaluronic acid, it's going to be working for you, not only in the spots that you treated, but also all over your body. And it's going to be working all the time. So you want to be taking it, taking a hyaluronic acid every single day.
That's all. Okay. First of all, that was like a glōci podcast.
Really? But people need to know if they're working on their skin.
Awesome. Second, where do they get the 25% discount that's only good for podcast listeners?
You can go to getglōci.com and use code HAPPY.
That's GetGlōci, GetGlōci.com. GetGlōci.com. Use coupon code HAPPY to get 25% off. And then DM us. Let us know how you love it, because it's definitely changed my life, as not just because it's created by my wife. So I drink, 2 to 3 a day now?
You do, which is insane. This man he won't stick to anything he doesn't like.
I won't drink water without it. Okay, let's get to what we want to talk about today. And that is this quote that I heard the other day. Well, it wasn't a quote. It's just 2 people talking, passively in a conversation. And they said something that was like, whoa, that is actually so obvious and profound, yet none of us typically live by it, or a lot of us don't. And that is this: your relationship with time and your relationship with money are more closely related than you realize. Let that sink in. I'm going to say it one more time, because I really want people to grasp this. This is for some people like that. Oh, damn, this is why I always seem to not have time and not have money. It's because your relationship with time and your relationship with money are more closely related than you realize. So let me give you an example. If you have scarcity around money, you're going to find that you always end up with a scarcity around time, right? Like, okay, I'm going to be real cheap with my money, but God, I never seem to have any time because you refuse to buy back your time. And this has a compounding effect. You always hear about the compounding of money. If you invest early and often, then it compounds that much more in your favor over time. And the longer it compounds, the bigger it goes. Matter of fact, they call it slow at first and fast at last, right? And so what I mean by that is the more decisions that you make from scarcity with your finances, the more it's going to have a compounding effect of scarcity on your time. Let me give you, I want to give real simple examples here. Cleaning. Do you remember when we hired our first cleaners back in Minneapolis?
Yep.
It was when we were financially completely and utterly starting over. We had just moved into that tiny little mother-in-law suite that we were renting and starting over financially. And I said, let's hire these cleaners. And you thought I was nuts. You're like, Chris, I can do the laundry. I can do this. I can do that. And I was like,
neat freak, you guys. Like, I can't think without a clean house. So I was finding that I was cleaning like two days and nonstop throughout the week.
And I remember it felt like the biggest financial commitment ever when we were starting over financially. Keep in mind, this is, 15 years ago. It was $93 every 2 weeks.
Oh my.
No, a week. 93. They came once a week. It was $93 a week. And they would clean the whole apartment and they would do and fold the laundry and put it away. And that was while that $93 a week investment, that was while we were mounting our comeback. What's our, we're building your fitness program. We were building your gym out. We were doing all of those things and mounting our comeback. I had taken that partnership with the mortgage bank and trying to hustle to make that thing grow. And the amount of time and energy that bought back by being able to pay that $93 a week was immense. I mean, that was probably a 100x return. Matter of fact, that very next year was the first year that we made $1 million. We had never made $1 million in our life. The most we had ever made as a couple prior to having to start over financially, by the way, was in the 300s. And then everything went to crap and we made zero and we had to start from below zero. And then that very next year, after we hired those cleaners, I'm not giving them the credit, but it freed up the time and energy for us to figure out a way to make $1 million that next year.
There's so many little things that go into that story, though, that I want you guys to realize. It's not just about like, okay, yes, now we have a clean house and we did buy back some time. You have a finite amount of energy every day. And that finite amount of energy, if you are a creative, if you're someone who has to really, if you're the founder of your business, if you're the owner of your business, you have to not only generate the income by doing the income producing tasks, but you also have to have some creative bandwidth in your brain. And I know for me that if I'm constantly using all of my energy for more of the mundane tasks that I could delegate out, I'm not going to find myself sitting down in the afternoon after cleaning all morning and being like, oh, I feel so creative. I have so much energy left. And so there is something to be said about making sure that you feel like you have enough energy every day to really think of bigger needle moving things that you can do in your business. And a lot of times when we delegate these tasks, you're going to find that you just have a little more space to be able to do that along with doing those income generating things.
In other words, I love what you just said. We could almost look at it like an equation. We were trading $93 a week worth of energy for tens of thousands of dollars a week worth of production from that energy that we saved.
Correct.
So here's a few more examples, right? Cleaning your laundry, yard work, things like Instacart. You don't have to have like an assistant going out to buy your groceries, but if you're going to the grocery store and you're like, I don't want to pay those Instacart fees. I don't want to pay those Instacart prices. Well, what you're really saying is my scarcity around money is going to further compound my scarcity around time.
So I've been thinking about this one so much around just like, what would it even cost you to pay an assistant? Because so many people are like, oh my God, if I could just have an assistant. If you can't afford an assistant yet, or you maybe don't want one, you literally can outsource pretty much everything now. And one of the biggest things for me that I absolutely love is Instacart. And this is not an ad by any means.
I just realized it sounds that way.
It sounds like an ad, but I'm using that
free press right now.
I'm using that as an example because maybe you'd pay someone $25 to $35 an hour. And the task of going to the grocery store might be an hour to 2 hours. And Instacart to deliver is like $20 or $25. And it's like, and sometimes it's a lot less than that. And it saves you so much mental bandwidth, because here's why. And I know, Chris, you were just doing this. It's like you totally forgot about the fact that you can use TaskRabbit or Instacart. You were so stressed because you needed to go pick up earbuds because you had lost your earbuds. And all day long, you're like, oh my God, I need to go get earbuds. I need to go get earbuds. I'm like, babe.
Because I wasn't going to have them for the workout the next morning.
Why don't you Prime it or TaskRabbit or Instacart it? Like, see who can just deliver it to you and stop thinking about it, so that instead of taking up your mental bandwidth of, I need to go and get that thing, or I have to grocery shop today, I can't believe I have to go to the store while I'm so busy, where you need to be getting something done for your work that evening. Like, you guys, the payment is beyond like what you are putting a number to.
Here's a few more examples. Just, I'm trying to get your memory kind of working here so you can really understand all the ways that your scarcity around money is actually causing a scarcity of time. So doing admin work for your business, or certain tasks in your business that you're terrible at and you'll never be good at, but you refuse to hire them out. And it's not always about hiring, right? Maybe it's trading out. Maybe it's calling in favors. Matter of fact, let me give you an example. In Frello, obviously, I gave up half my company when I went to Matt and said, hey, are you and your team available to help me bring this thing to life? And that's an example of not being in a place of scarcity with money, because, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to give up half my company. I don't want to give up half my idea. And then we gave up even more because we went and got investors so that we could speed things up. Now, obviously, due to regulatory surprises, we hit a giant pivot, and without Matt, without the team, we wouldn't be successfully making this pivot that we're making right now. So that's a whole nother bonus for not having scarcity. But the point is, we were able to create something that was absolutely epic, that was just weeks from hitting the market in record time and in a record way, because of me not having scarcity around, I want to keep part of my company. So how's that related to, I'm not saying you guys go and give away your company to, your next funnel builder or next marketer, but there's ways to compensate people that you're not thinking of right now. Here's another example. People that say, well, I'm not going to trade my car in and, get that 15% less for it. I'm going to sell it. And they spend weeks and weeks and weeks showing their car and putting it on Facebook Marketplace, and people coming by and kicking the tires and wasting their time. And how much time did you waste that you could have been out there reinvesting that time and energy into making so much money that it 10x'd that little bit that you lost by trading your car in versus selling it? Garage sales. All of these things.
Selling clothes. I see so many people spend so much time selling clothes. Look, there is a time and a place for that. I definitely did that until I had something. If you don't have a modality to make money, it's not necessarily smart right now to be like, yeah, I'm just going to hire this all the way, unless you use it to learn a modality to make more money.
Yes.
So once I had the modality and realized I could either be advertising, like really working on my social media and advertising to get more clients, or I could be, DMing 100 people to try to find clients, or I could be out, whatever you do, door knocking, whatever that looks like to get more clients, instead of going and selling $500 to $1,000 worth of clothes, like taking all of the time that takes. If you can generate a lot more income than that, that's when I started donating clothes or giving them away to friends. Like I said, time and place, but also really looking at, is this the best use of time, or is this just making me feel better about myself right now?
I love it. So all these decisions, when you have a scarcity around money, the way that it compounds your scarcity of time, all these decisions pile up into a situation where they're just completely nickel and diming your time away. No pun intended, but that's what they're doing. And my mom used to always call it, Chris, you're being penny wise and dollar dumb. Or she would always talk about my dad. They had a very different relationship with money and time. Like, dad wanted to do everything himself and fix everything himself and build everything himself. And part of that was like, he loved doing it. But she used to always say, you're being penny wise and dollar dumb. And there's so much truth to that. Now, the inverse of this relationship is true as well. Time and money works the same, right? So if you find that you have a scarcity around time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have energy, then you're going to find that you get kind of stuck with your earning potential as well. It gives you a sense that you can't say yes to good opportunities, or you can't say yes to new things that you should be saying yes to. Or heck, you might even say, I don't have the time to go make a hire right now, because you have created a situation where you put yourself in that place. Right? So if you've got scarcity around time, it's going to cost you the ability to make some of these good decisions around money. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're totally maxed out on clients, no matter what you do for a living. If you got clients, let's say you're maxed out on clients, and a dream client calls you or comes across you and says, I need this right now. I want to pay you 2 times your price. I want to pay you 2 times your rate. But if you have absolutely no time to say yes to that client, you just missed out on like the opportunity you always wish would fall into your lap, right? But if you had a better relationship with time and money, you would have already hired enough things out and put yourself in a position where you would have been able to say yes to that dream client. And this is interesting because in life, you know how people tell stories? This very situation I just gave you, the client comes along and says, I'll give you 2 times your going price or rate or whatever. This is either that fork in the road where you tell someone the next day, oh, I'm so unlucky. Somebody showed up and wanted to pay me 2 times this and I didn't have time to say yes. Or this is where you get to tell the story the next day saying, you won't believe the luck I had. This guy showed up and he said he's going to pay me twice as much for my product, twice as much for my time if I could say yes to him. And so you're literally creating good luck or you're creating bad luck based on this relationship that is highly linked between time and money. So if you know your value, if you know how to make decisions on whether you should delegate something out, hire it out, trade it out, or do it yourself, that's when this all starts to fall into place. Like first is awareness. Second is, well, okay, how do I make this decision? There's a mathematical way to make this decision. And it kind of starts with this. If it's not joy producing or income producing at the actual rate of your earnings of your time, then you're obligated to either delegate it out, hire it out, or trade it out. So what I mean by that is you need to know what your hourly rate is worth. And there's a very simple calculation for that I've been teaching for years. And it's this. You take your earnings, that your goal, how much you want to make for the year, and you divide it by the number of weeks that you're willing to work that year, divided by the number of days on average that you're willing to call a work day that week, divided by the number of hours that you consider as a part of your income producing workday. Let me repeat that. You take your earnings goal, divided by the number of weeks you're willing to work that year, divided by the number of days per week you're willing to work, divided by the number of hours per day, and that gives you your hourly value. And now you've got that number. Pretend it's $200 an hour. Now you got that number to say, okay, unless it's bringing me joy. Some people love mowing lawn, they love washing their car or whatever. That gives you that chance to say, is this a $200 an hour task? If it is, I should do it myself. If it's well below that, then I should hire it out, trade it out, delegate it out.
Mm-hmm. And I want to point something out in terms of partnerships. When we're talking about income producing things, especially if you are in a point where you guys are trying to, get out of a situation or dig your way out of a situation, or you're really in a growth phase. And one of the people is a lot more able to make money right now. Let's use the example of, let's just say, Chris and I are trying to get out of debt, or we're trying to really build up our bank account. And he has the ability to make a lot more money than me. Maybe his clients pay a lot more than I do. And let's say that on a Saturday, him and I had plans to do yard work together or do something that we wanted to do together, but he got a client that could pay a ton of money. So instead of me being upset with him around like, oh, I thought we were going to do this together, like to really support that partner, if the goal together is to get out of debt or to grow your income to a certain point or to pay for something that you want, like there have been so many times where I know that he is like the main breadwinner and his ability is maybe more than mine at the time. And if there's a client
vice versa.
that exactly vice versa. So there's been times for me as well. But, in those situations, I'm always like, nope, take them. That's great. I will take on this task myself because it doesn't require you and you're not going to be making that money. So let's divide and conquer and let's go and do these things without being upset at that person, because you have to remember that you're on the same team and you have the same goal, and that's the thing that's really helping move the needle the most on that goal. And so really learning how to support each other throughout these seasons of saying, who's got that ability and how can I support you more and take on maybe more at home that I can do that, supports, but maybe doesn't move the needle.
Damn, that's good. So if you're in a partnership, you're saying you need to make sure both of you are on the same page, and both of you are having conversations, if you're not on the same page, until you are, around your, understanding that your relationship with time and your relationship with money are very closely related. And scarcity around one is going to cause scarcity around the other as a byproduct.
Yeah.
Scarcity around money is going to cause us to make decisions that give us a scarcity of time. Scarcity around time is going to cause us to make decisions that'll end up with a scarcity around money. This brings me back, and then we can kind of wrap this thing up, but I wanted to give another real life example. It brought me right back to when you and I were digging out of the hole. When you said that, that's what made me think of that. And you started your online workout program before everyone else in the world had one.
Yep. While I
Original gangster.
had a gym.
Yep. And you had a gym as well. And where the online program came from, you said, I can only see just so many women at a time, training them in the gym. Is there a way I could make more money when they're at home? And that became the online program, right? So, we were like trying to save money. We were digging out and we thought we had to do everything ourselves. And we would stay up till past midnight on the last day of the month when we would have to charge all the online clients, typing in credit card information by hand for hundreds of people. And, 3/4 of them would go through, 1/4 of them wouldn't. And so you'd spend the whole next couple of days following up. Hey, could I get a new credit card? Hey, could I get this?
One digit at a time, you guys.
Yep.
One digit off of a paper enrollment form that I kept.
Now, there wasn't a lot of technology to automate this back then, but there was some. And had we spent the money to get advice on how to use that technology, we wouldn't have done that. Had we said, gosh, for $15 an hour, we could hire somebody out to do this, and you and I wouldn't have to stay up till 3 a.m. typing them in and then collecting the next few days.
And I could have taken Saturday morning clients because I got paid, about $120 an hour, where I could have paid $15 an hour to someone and gone and taken, 5 Saturday morning clients.
So, that's a great real life example of how we were violating this because we had a scarcity of money and it caused a scarcity of time and vice versa. All right, guys. Well, hopefully this was helpful. Is either a wake up call or a reminder or a little push in the right direction to make better choices. And maybe it was even a little push to have you go talk to your partner in life about, hey, we got to get on the same page on our scarcity and our values around both time and money. Because if you get this figured out, everything starts snowballing in your favor. Everything starts compounding in your favor. These two things are so closely related that if you don't have them both figured out, then it's going to either spiral out of control or it's going to start spiraling up into exactly what you want it to be. And that's our wish for you. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Love and appreciate you.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.